Welcome everybody. My name is Vincent. I'm from Life Coach and Rapid Results. I'm here today with Paul.
Good to see you, Vince. And yeah, you got some emails. Great that emails being sent in. Things are progressing in the right way. And so today's email is...
Today's email, I got an email from Samantha from
It's
Ely.
local as well today, yeah? Ely.
Yeah,
it's great, man.
So
it's great when we can relate to the towns, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so Ely is around the corner. You could throw a stone at her, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, good to meet. And what was the name?
Samantha.
Good to hear from you, Samantha. Well done.
So Samantha from Ely. Hi Vincent, she goes on to say, hi Vincent, after seeing your videos, I thought I would take a chance in sending you this email outlining my concerns. I guess maybe an opportunity for others to learn from my difficulties. I guess a chance of giving back like you've demonstrated through your problems. So here goes. I've been in an abusive relationship for a year. I seem to attract the same type of partners into my life. I feel like giving up on men altogether. Because a few people say that.
Yeah, I feel like that about women. No, my relationships are great. Now I'll take that back.
I avoid the house as much as possible due to the negative atmosphere. I feel like a doormat when I'm around my partner. We've been together for 2 years. We have a child after a year of being together. I want to keep the family together because I know what it's like to be from a broken family. Yeah? I'm currently not happy, but I would sacrifice my own happiness for my child to have both partners living together. Am I doing the right thing? I know I'm not doing the right thing, but I don't have the strength to leave the relationship. I'm stuck in a job that leads me nowhere. I can just about keep us afloat. My partner works full time, but spends most of his money on drinking cocaine on the weekends. He's a good dad and tries to be there, but I think it's just me justifying and staying in the relationship is more the truth.
Wow, there's a lot of information in there, Vince, isn't it?
It is.
It could take, literally you could sit down with it for hours breaking that down.
Definitely, yeah.
But go on, fire away. What was your thoughts on it?
A little bit more. My mental health is getting me down. I believe this is also a reason why I'm staying where I am.
Yeah. First of all, for me, straight away, I could argue the part at the end that the mental health is getting me down. I see it as it's not a mental health problem.
No.
This woman is pretty switched on. She's written you an email. She's connected to her emotions, which is great. I guess she's overwhelmed, but just because somebody's overwhelmed, it doesn't mean they got mental health problems.
Yeah.
It sounds like her life, but it is in chaos. And she's feeling exactly the way she needs to feel to change. But what's your take on it, Vince?
So my take on it is, let's have a look. So she's been together for 2 years. She's had a daughter, and it's been an abusive relationship for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got a lot of fear about.
I don't know if you want to discuss that a little bit, just a loan kind of thing. The way I see it, I don't know about you. I'd love to have your take on it, and I think these discussions are great, like kind of thing, like podcasts, so to speak. But just on that little bit alone kind of thing, she says she's in an abusive relationship, and my experience of that abusive relationship is like, where did it start? And he wasn't the punch in the nose, so to speak. It wasn't, it started way before then. It was back at our first date, so to speak, where something left clues. Maybe he spilled his coffee or something like that, or dropped his pen or something, and it was all too much for him, and he kicked off and kicked the table or something. It's like, we failed to take notice of them little clues that later turn up in life and, ends up as a punch in the nose. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem is we don't nip in the butt straight away.
Yeah.
These little, like you was just saying, these little things start happening. And because we want to be in a relationship, because of our own selfish needs, we want something from that relationship.
Yeah.
Even though it shouldn't happen like that.
Yeah.
We stay in our relationship. We just let that go. We don't react.
We create the monster. Yeah.
Because we create the monster because we don't have good boundaries in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably from past relationships. What bad past relationships has done? Because it seems like she's had a few past bad relationships. what that's done is to the self-esteem, self-worth and self-respect, it slowly brought it down. Yeah, so over the time of being in bad relationships, the self-esteem, self-love and self-respect has been brought down, and it gets people to a place where they think that's all I'm worth. Yeah, and that can be a big problem of people settling and thinking that's all I'm worth, so I'm just going to stay here anyway.
Yeah.
So
I always love that question. I don't know, I'll fire this one in here. When I've spoke to it, I've helped people in my coaching kind of thing. I ask them this question. I say, listen, and usually it's guys who've come to me for help kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I say to them, because they're in the same situation, in a difficult relationship, and I ask this question. I say, listen, if you had 5 beautiful women stood outside the door, all waiting, all good quality women with good jobs, good houses, you could get on brilliant, and they were all stood outside the door waiting to take you home or take you out, would you ever consider staying in the relationship you're in now?
Yeah.
And they always answer, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Yeah. The only reason why you don't go outside and find a new relationship is because you don't think you're good enough and you don't think they're out there.
Yeah.
And you stay in the relationship that you're in.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So with the self-worth and self-love and self-respect and that, we need to work on that. We need to start caring for ourselves. We need to start loving ourselves. And this is all coming. This is a big source of it is the story we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
These bad relationships happened. It must be me. I'm worthless. I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? And this is what's causing, a big part of the problem. So we need to change that story. We need to change our story, which we tell ourselves, that then changes how we feel about the situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to go quickly back into the mental health again. The mental health is from the story I think about myself, the story I think about my future, my past, and the world around me, people, places, and things. And it's this story which I tell myself, which is causing me bad mental health.
Yeah, I like that. And mental health is the story you tell yourself healthy or not? Yeah. If it's healthy, then you feel great.
Yeah.
If it's not healthy, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by
because people always cower away, don't they, from the word mental health? Yeah. They don't like that. Well, I mean, if we break it down, is the mind healthy or not? Is the story I tell myself good or bad?
Yeah.
And my feelings will tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem why a lot of people tell themselves a bad story is because they're going to see this much truth. They become a victim of their life. When you got to remember, life is not happening to us, it's happening for us.
Yeah.
Mental health is just the way we think. If we're thinking negatively, we got bad mental health. If we're thinking positively, we choose to mental health. We
choose to ignore it. Going back, I love what you just said then, Vince. Yeah, life is either happening to you or for you. This, for example, when we talked about, in this relationship, maybe going back a year or so before, when he dropped his pen and he was kicking the table kind of thing, that left a clue. That was happening for you. It was showing you your future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had an opportunity at that stage. So it was happening for you. The dropping of the pen was happening for you, so to speak. Is that I can make a decision now, either to correct this relationship you're in now or run.
Yeah.
Up to you.
Yeah.
But if you brush it under the table, then you create that monster and it comes back to bite you 10 times worse. Yeah. But you had the clue. Life was happening for you right at the very beginning. As soon as I can see my little part in it, then I can make sure. It might have happened. It might be too late maybe to change things now. But in my next relationship, man, boy, with a bit of coaching, I've got my eyes open.
That's right. Yeah. And all these bad relationships is showing up in her life because she has vulnerable spots. So and if you don't fix these vulnerable spots, you're gonna get more of what you don't want. Yeah, so these bad relationships, while you're putting up with them because you don't have boundaries in place, you're not able to detach, you low self-worth, you low self-esteem. This is all adding to the problem. Yeah, so when we put boundaries in place and someone doesn't, and we nip things in the back, that's not acceptable. I don't like how you're behaving there. I'm not going to put up with this because I'm worth more than this. Then that's then stops our relationship turning into a bad relationship. But you could be the nicest person on earth, and the other person could be a good person. But if you haven't got good boundaries in place and someone's overstepping your boundaries, then they will keep overstepping your boundaries because you're not giving out signals that that's not acceptable, this shouldn't be happening, you shouldn't be doing that. And because you haven't got no boundaries, their behaviour will keep going and going and going because you're not giving out the signals you need to give out to prevent that from happening, which is a vulnerable spot.
Yeah.
So when you identify these vulnerable spots, you can put boundaries in place, you can start to change them, and you can start to see things differently, that we have a part to play in it as well. We do have a part to play in it. Yeah, and when we can take responsibility for that part to play in it, it's an amazing thing. Because when we take responsibility for our part in it, we can do something about our part in it. We don't do stuff about their part in it, but we can do something about our part in it. And I see a lot of people say, well, I did that because I wanted to see how they would treat me. But if you're not giving out the right signals to say stuff is not acceptable, then you're part of causing the problem. You know, people's perception, one person's perception of behaviour and their perception of how they're behaving is two different things. They're not meeting up. And this is where the problem's caused. So some people might not have boundaries in place because they justify that by saying, well, I want to see how he treats me. Yeah, but he's going to treat you like that because you haven't got the boundaries in place.
People will only do it and say what you allow them to do it and say.
Definitely.
I like that word, but Vince, vulnerable. You said that, you know, somebody was vulnerable kind of thing, or this person was vulnerable. I mean, we're all vulnerable. And vulnerable means that I did not see it coming. Yeah. So, I mean, I had a chink in my armor, so to speak. So, you know, sometimes it's very often I can't fix something, until I have pain. Because if, you know, the whole point, the whole reason why I received pain is because I did not see it coming. So that pain, if you like, is highlighting where I've got a chink in my armor. Yeah. This is where every time I have pain, I need to take a look at that little chink in my armor. You know, where am I going wrong? What can I do to avoid, you know, this in the future? What can I do to not to allow this to happen to me again? And each and every time I fix that little chink, I progress. Yeah, I get to a better place, a stronger me. And that's what she says at the end, I believe. Didn't she, at the end of this letter, saying she hasn't got the strength?
She hasn't got the strength, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it's how you view that. Is this either happening to you or for you?
Yeah.
Is it either making you stronger or weaker? It's the story you tell yourself. It's perception again. Yeah. Yeah, it's you've got to change your perception.
How does anybody know that they're strong in the event that they haven't got pain?
They don't.
That's right. I mean, so
the pain that makes us stronger.
So we very often we pray for courage or pray for strength, yeah. And to pray for strength or to pray for courage means you pray to be frightened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't build this emotional muscle of fear unless you're frightened.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's all about building. We only get emotional muscle from experiencing emotional pain. You know, and when we experience enough emotional pain, we get enough emotional muscle where things that used to affect us don't affect us so much.
Very often I to think of this person that we, you know, at the end kind of thing, if we was look back at ourselves, who do we want to be remembered for? And we want to be remembered for being strong. We want to be remembered for being courageous and loving and this, that, yeah. Well, how is that ever possible to reveal, you know, that person? And to reveal that kind of person, somebody strong, you have to have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, to demonstrate to my children that I'm strong, I have to have problems.
Yeah.
So we all want to show that we're strong people, yet we don't want the problems to show that we're strong.
Of course. Yeah. It's perception again, and it's how you see it. How you change how you see it, you change how it affects you. And everything's about perception. So we're going to look into, so you know, she's saying she's in a dead-end job. So the guy's going out, spending his money on the weekend. She's saying he's there through the week and that, but it's an abusive relationship. Yeah, so obviously she's not having because of not having these boundaries, saying, listen, this is not acceptable. I'm keeping anything going here. You're going out, blowing your money on the weekend. If you keep doing that, I'm gone. I don't care what it takes or whatever it takes. I'm worth more than that. I've got a lot more respect for myself, a lot more love for myself than what you're giving me. Yeah, so that's the thing. And I
mean, the thing is with this, because she says he's a good dad. Yeah,
so she's not sure if she's justifying that.
Yeah, he's a good dad, but he drinks a lot, I believe, or spends most of his money on cocaine. Well, what kind of example is this setting for the children? Yeah, you know, you can't be a good dad and blow all your money on cocaine and alcohol kind of thing. So I think, you know, it's something to be taking a look at. But are you really right about, you know, is this a good example for my children? And that's very important because we do more for the people we love than we do for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So she's in this position. Now we're going to look at now that she said she doesn't feel that she's strong enough to leave, and she's in a dead end job, and it isn't going anywhere. You know, a lot of people are out there. They haven't found. They believe because of the story they tell themselves again. They believe they can make the change. You know, there's people out there with a house full of kids that's put an extra half hour in every night, studied and learned something, got a degree or whatever, and managed to change their life. Yeah. If I tell myself that I I'm in a dead end job, I'm not going anywhere, then I'm causing my own problem because I'm trapped in that. I'm creating my own reality. When what I should be changing what I'm saying to myself, that you know what, there's people that's been in a lot worse situations. They've made small steps, first of all, half hour a night, half hour a couple times a night, half hour every night, then put it up to whatever they can when they can. And you can learn absolutely anything.
Yeah.
You know, we're so blessed today, we've got the internet. We can sit at home, we can put the internet on, and we can learn.
Yeah.
You know, and we can better ourselves in many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, so it's saying to myself that I don't feel I can get anywhere, I'm trapped at a dead end job, life is worthless. You know, you're creating that. That's just a trap sentence. It's just trapping you where you are, and you don't want to be trapped. Yeah. So take examples of people who have been where you are and have made them changes.
Look at Oprah Winfrey. Everybody can access her story. Rape when she was 13. I mean, she came from she was actually born out of rape because her mother was raped when she was 13. So that was history repeating itself. But look where she ended up. You know, having one of the greatest chat show of all time. Why was she able to do that chat show? Yeah, because of her background, because of her understanding and her experience in life. Yeah. You know, it took her to places that was unimaginable kind of thing. You know, so you know when you talk about the story we tell ourselves, we're all in comparison, and we always comparing ourselves, comparing ourselves to how good things could be. If we started only taking a look at of comparing our things to how good things are, and we do that by comparing ourselves to how bad things could be. Rather than how, and when I look and think to myself, God, look what's going on in the world, and look how lucky I am. You know. The fact that she was even able to email you is like, wow, man. Meaning that not everybody's got a mobile phone. Not everybody's got the access to email. You know, we have so much. You know, she's got a roof over her head. Not many people are just living on the streets or in tents.
That's right.
Kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but she's, you know, we all have this kind of stuff. And Vince, I'm not pointing the finger by you because I can get caught in that trap too. You know, I love that you taught me this. You know about this saying about, you know, I remember you calling me one day and saying, Paul, what are you grateful for? And I went, I don't know, Vince, kind of thing, you know. And then we talked about, Paul, if I took away your mobile phone, for a month, how grateful would you be to have it back? If we took away your food for 3 days, how grateful would you be to have it back? And you went on with this kind of story, and eventually, you know, said, well, none of it's gone, Paul. You got it all already, but why aren't you grateful? Lovely way of explaining it, and people should know that, Vince.
Definitely. You know, that gratitude list is massively important for improving self-esteem and self-worth and that, because it makes you focus, it changes the way the mind works. Instead of the mind focusing on what you haven't got, it starts to train the mind up to focus on what you have got, which then makes you feel a lot better. You know, because if I'm not grateful for the things I got, no matter how small they are, then my mind will be looking at all the things I haven't got. So this gratitude list will retrain the mind to focus on the things I have got and the things which I am grateful for, which is very important. It's a very important tool. You know, I do 8 to 12 different things every day. You know, someone smiled at me, someone done a phone call, someone made me a cup of coffee, I got clean sheets on the bed, I got a safe place to stay for me and my kids. I don't live in a war-torn country. It's not necessarily all the big things, it's the little things through the day.
You can see, man. You can see, you know, you can feel. I mean, it's interesting what you said then. The mind is always looking, if you like, kind of thing, for the most dangerous. I don't think you said dangerous stuff, but it's always looking on to be on alert of, you know, always looking for problems, kind of thing. And that's great itself. Because if we're not alert and in looking out for ourselves, kind of thing, then we're going to end up bumping straight into it. So what do we prefer? A little bit of anxiety and stay safe, or no anxiety and bump into things and get hurt?
Of course,
You know, it's like the fact that we're on high alert, if you like, you know, high alert, perhaps a little bit too much, but we're people say, you know, I'm sensitive, and they say that in such a way that, you know, this sensitive is something bad. I think, what be, man, great. Because if we just word it in a little different, in a slightly different way, instead of saying I'm sensitive, I say I got great senses. And when I got great senses, I got my eye on everybody, and I can look out for myself, and I can see, you know, this possible, you know, future that is going to be, you know, life-threatening or dangerous, not only for me, but for my children. and the people I care about and the people I love. So to be, to have great senses, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, definitely. So being in a dead end job, people don't find their life purposes these days. And if you don't find your life purpose, it can cause a lot of pain. I'm living a life. I'm not really living my life. I don't even know what my life purpose is. People don't even know what their life purpose is. But it's an amazing thing. We all have a compass within us, a spiritual compass. When we find what feeds our spirit, it will lead us on to our life purpose. Not what we think is right or wrong, or what should be happening or shouldn't be happening, or we should have this company and this should be happening. That's not going to bring you happiness if you're not finding your life purpose. There's a lot of people out there with all the material possessions, all the nice things. They feel flat. They don't feel content in life because they're not following their life purpose. So how do we find our life purpose? We just follow what feeds our spirit. And if that doesn't take us to our life, if that one thing don't take us to our life purpose, it will lead us on to our life purpose. So just follow what makes you happy.
I think a good question there, for somebody to ask myself, am I being useful? Because every time I'm useful to other people, and especially the people I love and myself, but even the outside people, if I'm of use, I feel uplifted. I feel on fire, so to speak. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Is that kind of, am I being useful? Not necessarily to me, but to the outside world.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to say, I've got to love a tool. I love a powerful tool because of the self-worth, self-love and self-respect is gone and it's happened over a long period of time. A lot of people will be in a place where they hate themselves, blame themselves, a lot of self-hatred. So in order to get us through all this crap which you went through, is the person we was before we disconnect from him. And we disconnect from him, it's a survival mechanism. It's how we tune out like. Yeah. So we need to get back connected to our younger self. And how we get back connected to our younger self is a very simple exercise. And I get a photograph from when things were, say, teenagers, from my teenage years, anything between 8 and 16. Yeah, I find a meaningful photograph, and I get his photograph, and I look at this photograph. I look at what I was feeling, what I was thinking at the time, what was going on, and what was my surroundings telling me, and I really get a feeling for it, and what my mindset was like back then. And then what I say to myself is...
So you're asking everybody, what is that little boy feeling at that time?
Yeah. In my case, well, that's a little boy feeling at that time. What's going through his head? And then I look at it and I see, for me, I was in a fearful place, a bit unsure of things, and I just needed the right guidance. Not that I didn't have it off my family.
So lack of security then, Vince, you was feeling at that time, going back when you was 8 kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah. Lack of security.
And this is not to say that any kind of parent's done a bad job. It doesn't matter what they done. It's how you communicate the outside world to yourself. So they could be the best parents in the world. So we're not pointing fingers. It's just a matter of how you feel. And you felt at that time very much the same as many of us, kind of thing, me included as well. Yeah. It was like uncertain, I felt. Yeah. Didn't have no security. Yeah, and that's how I felt, kind of thing. Yeah, that was important to me. Couldn't trust. Yeah, they were the key things that I had to find out what was wrong with me.
Yeah. But unsure the world, didn't know much. So what I need to do is I need to look back at my younger self, and now, guess what? Big me is here to come back and get hold of little me and look after little me. Yeah? So I can go back now and say to my younger self in the photograph, do you know what? I'm here to look after you. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm going to make sure nobody treats you like shit anymore. Nobody takes advantage out of you. Nobody uses you as doormat. I'm here to look after you and take care of you. And I'm not, under any circumstances, going to let anything happen to you. And then when I say that to myself over a couple of times, say it out loud, say it with conviction, mean what I'm saying. And when I do this a couple of times, what happens is then I can view myself as little me. Instead of looking at myself as big me, because I've got a lot of self-hatred for the person who I've become, or the person I thought I'd become. So by seeing myself as younger me, I can look at myself from a different perspective, because we do more for others than what we do for ourselves. Yeah. So when people are not treating me right, I don't view it as they're not treating me right who I am today. I view it as, would I let them treat little me like that? Would I let them treat my child like that? And the answer is no. And I do more to protect my child and make sure my child's in a better place than I would myself. So by using this exercise, I can connect to my younger self, bridge that gap from that disconnection, and start looking at myself from a different perspective, which then puts me in a totally different place, how I allow people to treat me and how I allow other people to behave around me and the situations I put myself in. Yeah. So there is hope out there. No matter whatever you think is going on, there's hope. You can change. You can get a better education. You can better yourself. You can find another job. Nobody knows what's around the corner. Nobody knows. But we pull out this crystal ball, which I call it a crystal ball for the bullshit. I pull it out, give a little rub, and I predict the future and I predict the worst possible outcome. And that's the problem. Yeah, I don't know what's around the corner. I could go out tomorrow, I could meet someone, somebody could phone me, I could see someone, and everything could change. My whole life could change.
I love that. I love
opportunity.
I love that saying Tyson come out with. Yeah, everybody got a plan until they punched in the nose. Yeah, and you don't know when that punch is coming, man. And you know, it's like when that happens, it's like, come on, we need to be ready. We need to prepare for the future and adapt. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not so much worrying about the future. It's about having a security within yourself that no matter what the future throws at you, you can get through it. You've been through a lot more. You've been through stuff, and you've got through it, and you're okay today. So that tells me if I've lived this long, then no matter what life throws at me, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to be fine. So security does not come from having a house, having material possessions, having money in the bank. Real security comes from within. That cannot be taken away. And when you've got that real security within, nothing can touch you.
Yeah.
So it's important to remember that security is within here. It's not about outside things. It's about in here. So let me just have a quick little glance through this. So yeah, just build up on it. So my advice would be change the story you tell yourself, change the way you communicate to yourself. Start working on this gratitude list. Start finding your life purpose. There's always hope. You can change. Yeah, even if you just done half hour a night, within a year, you'd be very far progressed than what you would at the beginning of the year. You know, small steps. Don't try and do these big, massive steps. Just move small steps. Yeah, start putting boundaries in place. Start doing this exercise with the photograph, looking at yourself as little you, and then you won't let people treat you in any other way except the way you deserve to be treated and respected. Yeah, and start working on this gratitude list every night and start changing the way you think. And that would be my first bit of advice to give to you to help transform your life. And these small little steps forward, you keep doing them on a daily basis. It's not just about just doing them today and not doing them tomorrow. They have to be a daily basis. They have to become a habit, because I have a lot of bad habits as formed. These stories you're telling yourself, you know, how you think and how you're feeling. You know, even the emotional pain, we can become addicted to the emotional pain like a drug addict. It's hard to let go of that emotional pain for some people. They're addicted to it because that emotional pain, this is like a security blanket. You know, it's familiar. You know, there's a certain sense of security in familiar pain. But it's about letting that go and just trusting the unknown. It's not about belief, it's about having faith and just trusting the unknown. Because if you don't trust the unknown, you never change where you are. You'll always be stuck where you are, thinking, could I, should I, would I, what if I done this, what if I done that? You know, and there's two types of pain. There's the pain of regret and there's the pain of discipline. The pain of regret, let me tell you, it weighs tons. The pain of discipline weighs pounds. Yeah, so you can have which one you ever prefer. Like I say, it's only suggested. I can only share from my experience and the stuff which I've used, which have worked for other people. You know, so it's always down to the person to take that advice on board. I never tell anybody what to do or how they should do it, but I just share my experience, and hopefully you can use my experience to apply into your life. Yeah. So I'd like to say thank you, Samantha, for your email. Much appreciated. If anybody else has any emails, please email me. My email address is on Google, yale.com, LinkedIn. You can even drop a message on the bottom of this video, or you can just give us a call. If I'm free, I'll answer the call and I'll leave a message and I'll write it up and I'll do a video for what you're asking for. Please hit this like, share and subscribe and help me get these videos out there. And thank you very much for joining me today and watching my video. You all take care, and thank you too, Paul.